Hey there YouTube, Voan here today. I know that you haven't seen me for quite a while now. Didn't do much in May because, well, pretty much I'm way too busy with overtimes and running around with all those holidays and all that stuff. So yeah, but now I'm back, and today we're gonna talk about this little thing right here, Dreamcast. So this console is Sega's final console that they ever make. So basically, with how Sega are in the hardware gaming market there, they have had a lot of financial troubles selling all their units and games and all that stuff. And with the Saturn, they didn't do very well. The Saturn did not sell very well, and a lot of the games that were released for the Saturn, some stay in Japan, some stay in other regions, and pretty much just quite a few handful came to the US. So there's not really a whole lot of hot titles on the US market for the Saturn. So Sega finally jumped the gun. They finally managed to create a console that it's much more easier to develop now, and much more gaming friendly to both the players, the consumers, and the developers as well. So the Dreamcast is the answer to that. So basically, the Dreamcast is what the Sega Saturn should be, and I have to hand it to Sega on how they create this, because it does look like a really nice little console here. Now, this is not my original console. I never bought a Dreamcast back in the days. I wish I could have, but this is a used one that I pick up at one of those thrift stores. So yeah, but it looks in pretty good shape too, I think. I mean, it's an old used system, but still a pretty nice looking boxy design here. And yeah, as you can see, for finally Sega actually followed through with what Nintendo did, and finally made 4 controller ports for the Dreamcast. So that's cool right there, because now you can play multiplayer without a multi-tap, something that the Saturn did not do. Fortunately, it's not quite that surprising, considering that when Nintendo 64 came out, people were hoping that 4 players does not have to use multi-tap anymore, and with a 4-player slot, they actually can solve that. But with Sega here, they actually follow through with it now, so you don't have to use multi-tab. This is a top-loading Dreamcast, so there's not any other different model, so this is one of a kind. There's another version with a black sleek coloring to it, but I don't have that one. So the white one or this gray one is pretty much the only one that I have. And since it's a used one, you can tell it's missing a few features that either were taken apart by its original owners, or I don't know. There used to be a modem adapter here. Somebody took it out for some reason, and it's not here anymore. But yeah, if this is the original Dreamcast, and it should came with a modem adapter, you can install 56K modem in there and then let it connect to the internet, play some online games on it. Yeah, I don't think that service is work anymore, but it's still it's a good feature for its time. Back here you have the usual AV outs for the composite cables. You got the power adapter plugins, and you have this serial plug over here. I'm guessing this is the link port to the Neo Geo Pocket Color, because as you know, Sega also has this connection with SNK's Neo Geo Pocket Color, where some games can trade between datas, between titles and all this stuff. So this might allow you to do that. Games like I think King of Fighters 98 or 99, and also the Capcom Versus games can also do that via this to the Neo Geo Pocket Color. I don't really know much of the feature of what it can do with those data though, but it's an interesting features. Yeah, down here you have a lot of labels telling you about all these cautions, the FCC warning there, something about the products, and yeah, it's in pretty rough shape down here, but it's still a very nice console here. So you only have like 2 buttons here and this indicator lights. So the power button's right here. You can just press that or press here to open. Now the interesting thing about this Dreamcast is that when I bought it, it came with this disc here, and at first I thought it's gonna be a game, but looking at closer, it's not really a game. It's pretty much just a pirated copy of Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast. Now this pirated copy does work. I mean, this is a regular CDR disc, I think, that somebody actually pirated a Dreamcast copy of Soul Calibur and just burned it directly to this disc, and then pretty much just they pretty much just got rid of this by selling away this Dreamcast, and whoever bought this Dreamcast get this disc with it. I mean, to me it still works and it works fine, but I just don't want to place a pirated copy of a game that I don't own. So Soul Calibur here, when I first bought this Dreamcast, I was surprised to get this, but I am glad that it does work, but was not that happy that it's not an actual game but just a pirated copy. And to me, pirated copy is not my thing. Fortunately though, I did manage to find the original copy, so that I don't have to so I can just use this until it actually breaks out or something. I'll pretty much just use it as a backup and then maybe someday destroy it because I don't want to keep pirated copy for this long, or to keep it for something. But I'll just let it be the way it is. But that's not how a Dreamcast game looks like. The actual Soul Calibur game looks like this though. So this is the actual Soul Calibur game released by Namco for the Dreamcast. Now this is a launch game for the Dreamcast. So if you know, the Dreamcast launched with pretty much roughly 19 or 20 games, and the best titles of all of them is Soul Calibur's. And I was one of the few people at the time that's really into games like this and really interested to play Soul Calibur. I mean, I play it at the arcade, and I never knew which console it came out for. By the time when the PlayStation 2 came out, I find out that Soul Calibur is actually a launch title for the Dreamcast, and at the time I didn't have much money to get a Dreamcast because my parents, they only want me to. I already got Super Nintendo and the Genesis, and they pretty much want me to stick with those. Nobody bought me a Dreamcast, so I pretty much, right now, since Dreamcast is much more affordable these days and it's much easier to find, I pretty much said it's time now to finally score me a Dreamcast and try this game out, because I did try Soul Calibur 2 on the other consoles, like the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, and it's a really wonderful game, a good game actually. But I really want to try the original on the Dreamcast. Now this may be the original Soul Calibur, but it's not really the original Soul game. And what I mean by Soul game is that the Soul series here, the original Soul game is Soul Blade for the PlayStation and Soul Edge on the arcade, but Soul Calibur is where the popularity begins, though, because this game is the more successful of all of them. So, and if you look inside here, if we open it up, now the cover is actually the manual, so that's a nice thing on the Dreamcast there. And we'll check the manual later, but here is how the disc look, and this is the actual Soul Calibur disc. It doesn't look anything like that pirated copy that I just have. I mean, it has that nice little logo there, all those good watermarks, and those flashy color there, Namco logo, Sega Dreamcast logo, red T for teens, all that good stuff. And this is how a Dreamcast disc should look like. This empty rewritable disc down there. So if anything happens to that disc, then I pretty much just let it go, throw it away. But this one is the one that I preserve, and pretty much the only one that I still play. So Soul Calibur here, to me, it's a great game. Looking forward to reviewing this someday too. So yeah. And if we could take a look at the manual, like I said, the cover is the manual. So and like I can tell that like the Genesis, Sega still prints their manual in black and white, but don't have any problem with that. It's a pretty good manual. Got all these nice little instructions. I think there might be some Dreamcast manual that has color too, but with these ones it's pretty good. It has all these information about the modes and features of the games. Now they don't actually list all the moves for all the characters, only just all the basic info. You don't really have to look up the moves at all, because the game does have its own move list in games that tell you how to do all those stuff already. So yeah, that's a good thing about this game here. So yeah, that's pretty much what the console and its game look like. So now let's look at the controller. Now the interesting part is, or the not so interesting part, is that you look at it compared to the Sega Saturn controller, though, the Dreamcast controller here is quite bulky. It's not, to me, it's not that comfortable to hold. I mean, if you hold it like this is okay, but I wanted to hold it like that. When with this, it's kind of too far away. But it does came with this new 3D analog sticks, so you can use this to play any of those 3D games that the Saturn did not support. The Saturn has a similar third-party game controller that looks kind of like this, and this controller actually did borrow from that. I don't know what that controller is called, but this analog stick came from that. But yeah, the analog stick's the only thing I like about this. Everything else is pretty much a downer to me a bit. I mean, the start button is down here. Looks similar to that blinking light triangle down there. I mean, they triangle it up, so that's good. There's a screen here. I'll tell you about that screen in a while bit, but a downgrade to me from the Saturn controller, or Genesis controller for that matter, is the D-pad here. I mean, this D-pad to me feels like one of the more, I mean, it's not that bad, but when compared to the comfortable feelings of the Genesis D-pad or the Saturn D-pad, I mean, this D-pad doesn't feel all that comfortable to use. I mean, it doesn't have those arrows there to it doesn't have those arrows there like the Nintendo D-pad, so it doesn't blister your thumb. But there's the edges that used to be there. I mean, the diagonal and stuff, the arrows and stuff in there, they kind of took those away, and now the D-pad looks kind of awkward. Not to mention it is a little bit too loose from the plastic here. I mean, it's not completely flat with the controllers. And to me, I really like my D-pad a little bit flat with the design, but this one is a little bit loose, a little bit like out a bit. So yeah, and whenever you're playing like fighting games, you can, and whenever you try to motion and stuff, it's really hard to do. You have to really just have to get used to the analog sticks. But if you're really gonna play fighting games with the Dreamcast, I recommend just using a third-party controller. I don't recommend using this at all. It works, but it doesn't work all that well. Another downer for me is this layout here. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the diamond layout on pretty much any controllers, but with Sega product here, this controller only has like 4 face buttons when you're playing a game. Now, playing fighting games that actually just supported 4 attack buttons is okay, but there are games like Street Fighter where you have 6 buttons and you don't have 6 face buttons here anymore. I mean, you used to have like a A, B, C, X, Y, Z, but for some reason Sega decided to take away the C and Z buttons, so now you just have X, Y, A, B now. And that's really sad too, because I mean, we kind of missed the 6-button layout here. Now, you probably just might thinking I'm complaining because, well, maybe the C and Z button got turned into the L and R button, right? Because there are L and R bumper buttons back here. So, yeah, like the Sega Saturn controllers, it also has L and R, but the thing is, the Saturn has L and R, but the Saturn also has C and Z, and the Dreamcast had L and R, but no C and Z. So, and the bumper button here is, I mean, if you're playing shooter games like the Unreal Tournaments or most of those Resident Evil games, the bumper buttons are pretty good to use for shooting and stuff. But when you're playing a platforming game like Sonics and Raymans and all that stuff, it's pretty uncomfortable to use. Or a fighting game for some reason, if you play Street Fighter and you are forced to use one of these 2 bumper, it's really hard to get used to. Now about this screen here, the screen here is actually it's really not a screen at all. It's pretty much just an opening for us that shows the screens, but yeah, that's an opening for the VMU. Now this thing here, this is the Dreamcast VMU here. They call it the video memory units, I think, and it has its own little LCD screens that has the graphics to that of a calculators. It has this really mini little D-pad and A and B button. Now the interesting thing is that the D-pad on this VMU actually feels really, really good. I mean, they should just use a similar design here on the actual controllers. Take this D-pad out and just like make a bigger version of this one, because this one is very comfortable to use. I just don't get why they just can't use it. But yeah, it has a sleep mode, a sleep button, a mode button, an A button, and a B button. They actually put a mode button here and take it away from the controller, so that's actually interesting. And yeah, it actually uses similar batteries to that of a calculators. And yeah, with this memory units, you can use it to play some mini games on some of the games that the Dreamcast had. You can actually save files on it, considering that it's also part of your memory card. So all you have to do is just jam it into your controller. Now you have to put it upside down and with the screen facing you. So just put it down like this and jam it in, just like that. And the screen, when you're actually playing this, it will just show all the game information down here. And any game that supports the VMU will have all the data shown there for you. So yeah, So that's the Sega controller there, the Dreamcast controller. So I don't like the bulky design of this. I'm not too favorable of the D-pad. I like this layout, but I kind of miss the C and Z buttons. Not really a fan of the bumper either. And the design is quite bulky a bit. It's not heavy, but I just don't like the big design. I think it's a really cool controllers to play some games, but to me the controller is, I mean, they have too many empty spots in the controller too, so that's really something that kind of turned me down a bit. But overall the analog stick works really well, and I like the support for the VMU. Another thing is, another thing that a lot of people complain about is how the wire came out of this thing. I mean, it came out from under instead of up here. And to me, I can understand why it's under here, because you really need this space up here for the VMU. Whereas if you put this up here, then you really have to put the VMU down here. And Sega really had to decide where to put it. And up here you really need the spot for this. Now the interesting part is that you can put two VMU up here if you want to, or two memory cards. So you could put one on the back here and one up here and have double the memories if you want. So that's an interesting part about the Dreamcast. And yeah, so to me this controller is nice, but it's just not that, it's just not my kind of controller that I would use with most of the games. But with Soul Calibur, it's not that big of a deal. Soul Calibur is pretty much the only game I have for this now. So if I should give a grade to each of these, the console, I give it an A. The controller, I give it pretty much just a B+. I mean, it still needs some work to do. I mean, the button doesn't feel quite as tactile as it could too. I mean, it's nice to have these color buttons, just like the Super Famicom ones, but the button they just don't offer that good feedback like all the other controllers. But it still works. So. B+ on the controllers. Now for the game here, once I start getting review for this game, then I'll give you my grade for this. But in a while we'll test out both of these games and see how the Dreamcast perform, because since this is a used Dreamcast, we'll have to find out if it works or not. So yeah, let's get on to the performance of this Dreamcast here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so here we have it, the Dreamcast, now playing Soul Calibur. As you can see, in this controller here, as you can, well, pretty much we had to do all these stuff first. So right now we can just skip everything. It doesn't really matter if you update or not, those things get reset all the time. So and here we can just go to play, see if it actually loads the game. Sometimes it'll load the game and sometimes it'll have problem reading the disc, but to my knowledge, the Dreamcast had no disc read error at all, unlike most of these modern disc systems. But yeah, that's one thing that I love about this Dreamcast, is that you don't have any disc problems at all with it. So as you can see, there's Soul Calibur, and as you can see down here on the controllers, they have the Soul Calibur information down there too. So if Soul Calibur supports the VMU, then that's what you'll see. So yeah, Namco. You just love that. So yeah, let's see how it plays. As you can tell, I've been messing with this game for quite a while too. Unlocked some new modes here, so it's pretty good. And let's play arcade for a bit and see how. Yeah, look at these graphics. Seems pretty good, huh? Let's try Keylink. and see how the game performs. I mean, Dreamcast, to me, Dreamcast have some of the more innovative and great looking games. Fight! Kill the lizard dude. It feels a lot more like a 3D version of Samurai Showdown a bit when I play this kind of game. I mean, Soul Calibur is basically Samurai Showdown in 3D. Considering that it too is also a weapon-based fighter. Anyways, let's see how it goes. Yeah, the controller works really well with this game. Okay, let's see how the next opponent can go. Now, I'm not gonna go all in depth with this game though. I'm just gonna show you how it plays, and then I'll tell you my final opinion on the Dreamcast. Yeah, look at that. Works really well. Control smooth. The sounds really great too. It really captures that arcade feel when you are playing it. And just look at that when it says arcade feel. Just look at what's up here though. It says insert coin. Never have I seen an arcade port that was released on home that actually says insert coin up there. It actually is just way too accurate to the arcade version. I mean, they say insert coins. How you gonna insert coins? All you got is press start. So that's one thing about this game that I realized. I mean, all the other games, all the other arcade ports that I have played, I have never seen insert coin up there before. So this game is pretty much that. Man. Ah, man. Anyways, this is just the copy version. I'll insert the actual version a bit, but the copy works really well too. I'm just disappointed that it's a copy.
This victory strengthens the soul.
Anyways, let's try the actual one and see how the actual one plays. I'm sure it'll play the same as the copy version. So yeah, let's try that. Let's try the actual Soul Calibur and see how it could be accurate. Because I'm sure that there might be something buggy about this copy version. So right now it's the actual Soul Calibur game. It's not the pirated one that we just played. So might have pretty much the same stuff. I'll choose a different guy this time, so same thing. And let's go to arcade mode and see how that goes. So, like before, I already unlocked these two guys, so Lizardman and Yoshimitsu, two of them. So, let's see. I'll try Shanhua. See how Shanhua plays. And I'm battling Voan.
Shanhua versus
Wan Sonyo. Yep, the insert coin is still up there. Yeah, works pretty well, huh? Come on, Juan Songo. Yeah.
Victory. Strengthen. You win.
One more match and then we'll be through with this.
Battle 1. Fight.
Yeah, graphics works really nice. And you can see all the good details in the background there, including the special ice effect or breath effect that they have around. This game alone showcased what the Dreamcast could do. So just by seeing all these good graphics and stereo sounds and all of these nice little features that they put in here, all pretty much accurate to the arcades, all pretty accurate to all the stuff that you will see on an arcade machine. I mean, you surely can't see games like this on a PlayStation. I mean, PlayStation 2 maybe, but definitely not on the PlayStation 1. And the Dreamcast came out at the time when PlayStation 2 and all the other systems aren't out yet, so you don't see any of those pop-up polygons like on the N64 too. So it has some smoother textures, some very impressive animations. And pretty much more color than what the PlayStation N64 demonstrate too, I think. And look at the water there, man. The water looks so real in that background. Look at that.
You lose. Battle 2. Fight.
Come on, Keely. Come on. Alright, so let's end this match and I'll give you my final opinion on this, on the Dreamcast here.
Final battle. Fight.
Come on. Perfect, come on, perfect. Yeah. So there you have it. That's how a Dreamcast game looks like if you play on the Dreamcast. The good part is that this Soul Calibur games is pretty much the best version of all of them. Not to mention it's a Dreamcast exclusive, so you can't play this on any other current system. You could play them on PlayStation Networks and Xbox Live, but I don't really recommend playing that version over this one because surely the original is still the best, so there's no reason to play those other versions. So yeah, that's Soul Calibur right here. So let's end here and go to the final opinions. Okay, so after trying the Dreamcast for a while there and playing with the console for a bit, I can honestly say it's a really nice little consoles. Too nice actually, and not like I said before. Although I'm not a fan of this controller, playing with Soul Calibur there for a while, I do get hooked with some of these controller designs and these buttons and D-pad here. So it does work really well with Soul Calibur. The Dreamcast itself is a pretty nifty machines. It could showcase graphics that are on par with that of a lot of those arcades and PC games. It has those nice controller ports, so you can, if you have a game that supports 4 players, you can play that. The sound came out really nice. I mean, that is like pretty much the best, some of the best audios I hear in a while, and it pretty much, to me, as compared to more of these modern games, the audio quality that came out the Dreamcast is really nice. I mean, you could clearly hear all the voices, all the music, and all the special effects that goes on with the games when we are playing Soul Calibur here. So that's a good thing about this Dreamcast here. I mean, the sounds are crystal clear, the controls are smooth, there's no laggy or any glitches or anything. I mean, the Dreamcast here, pretty much to me, and I mean the Dreamcast generation in itself is pretty much the last generation that actually gives you these kind of games. And when I mean these kinds of games, I mean games that came out that are actually high qualities and are actually complete, for instance. And when you buy a game like this and it works on these old games, you actually have the feeling that you're owning something wonderful here. I mean, this is actually yours now. It's not something like you license just to play. And I'm glad that I was able to get this Soul Calibur game now. I mean, I miss a lot of the stuff that they used to have back in the days, but looking back to it, and now that I can actually afford it, I'm starting to get into some of these. So Soul Calibur, to me, this is actually one of the more games that one of the better games that I'm looking for. So I'm starting to look into more games like these. Pretty much games like Virtual Fighter 3 and Sonic Adventure soon too. So the performance runs really well. There's no laggy or glitching at all. No bugs to be features. The VMU feature here works really well. I don't know if Soul Calibur has any VMU features. Maybe it does. It should have a symbol here to tell you that it does. And it says VMU compatible, so it is. I just have to find out what it is. But yeah. And if you look at the Dreamcast disc cover here, yeah, I kind of miss those plastic cover that the Genesis started out with. Now they're using these disc cover now, and I'm not really a fan of these disc cover at all either. It's really nice, but these could easily break. So and also miss the official Sega seal, because ever since the Saturn, Sega pretty much just dropped that seal now. So I mean, it's not really that important, but it is what defines Sega to me. So but overall, the Dreamcast is really nice. So if I could give a final grade on all of these, I mean, not reviewing the game, but on the performance alone with all of these, I have to say it's definitely an A. Not an A- or an A+, but an A for awesomeness. I mean, it still works. There's no disk reissues or disk load issues or any loading issues or any issues of any kind. I mean, I don't like to use that word a lot, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, so why worry, right? So I mean, it just works great, that's all. And I have to say, if you can come upon a Dreamcast like this and it's sold for a good price, then feel free to just buy it and have a blast with it. So, and to me, I bought this. I mean, it's pretty much around the $30 bucks. So, with $30, all I have is the console, the controllers, that pirated copy of Soul Caliburs that came with it too. So, and all the power hookup that they have with this. So all of those are all 30 bucks. There's nothing more than that. So if you can find it for cheaper than that, then the value is on you. But if you bought it for more than that, then I don't know what to say. It's up to you if you want it or not. But to me, with Dreamcast here, Soul Calibur, all that stuff, I had to say an A for awesomeness. It works, it plays great. I'm having a blast with it. I'm looking forward to more games for it, and maybe someday have some review out for it too. So thank you for joining me today on the Dreamcast, and I'll see you next time on my other reviews. So